Well, good morning and welcome back to the RSGB convention and welcome to our online viewers. This session is entitled Parks on the Air, or POTA, and I'm particularly looking forward to hearing about POTA because I was in Ireland last weekend and some people said they had operated from some islands off the coast, and when people who were looking at the spots online thought it was Ireland, nobody called. So I thought, well, we'll try and make it more interesting. We'll put the IOTA number on, and one or two people called, but not much happened. And they said, well, we put the POTA number on, and we were overwhelmed. It had a huge pile-up. So let's hear more about this. And to tell us about it, we have April Jones, M7APR. April is one of England's country administrators for Parks on the Air, and she's been licensed since 2019, and is also a keen contester, which is probably going to help if she gets pile-ups all the time. And she looks after the day-to-day POTA needs for England. So over to you, April.
Thank you for having me. It was a bit weird. Hate speaking these kind of things. So I've come to talk about Parks on the Air, POTA. Does anyone do Parks on the Air here? Oh, that's brilliant then. I could scratch this and we'd still go have dinner early. So Parks on the Air. So a bit about me. My name's April. I've been licensed since 2019. I do a lot of portable operations, keen contester as well in the RSGB contests when my shift pattern allows me to. I'm one of England's POTA mapping administrators, so I look after England day to day. So I add parks, remove parks, do research about parks, listen to everyone's complaints, and basically day-to-day running of it, any queries people might have, do that. Day job, I work at the prison service. I'm also ex-intelligence corps, so that's where my interest radius come from. So just a couple of call signs there for England and Wales. So England's got 3 mapping reps at the moment. Wales got 2. Scotland's got a couple as well. So like I said, we just look after the day-to-day running of POTA for the UK, really. So what is Parks on the Air? So it's just a programme encouraging people to get out in your local park, doing portable. It's a really fast-growing programme. There's over 4,000 references around the world. England at the moment's probably got about 1,000 parks. And the thing is, it's really easy. It's really easy rules, which I'll go into in a little bit. If that decides to work or not, there you go. So who's POTA? So POTA started back in 2017 with the ARL POTA event. So it was an event to celebrate 100 years of national parks in the UK. After that, because of all the interest they got from in America, Canada, and into Europe, the group of people would say, sit down, form a little committee, made a non-for-profit organisation in the States, and POTA was Parks on the Air was born. So it's quickly grew. It's just a handful of national parks in the States. More and more people got involved, like, hey, I want to help out. It just grew from there. So in the States, there's a rep for each state. And it's just gone from there. So there's over 4,000 registered members of POTA from around the world, and that number just keeps going up every single day. So that's a bit about the UK. So numbers wrong, I haven't really changed that because Paul's been on a add-in binge recently, putting loads more parks into the system. So in the UK, we've probably got about 1,000 parks now, around 260, 300 in Wales, 190 in Scotland. The Scottish reps doing some great work at the moment, is just build on that massively. And just a bit there, activators feel like they're a DX. If you're activating a park for the very first time, people want to work that park, be the first one in your log for that to activate, well, to hunt the park. And it's just we're adding more and more parks every single day. I've added a couple this morning. I'm sure Paul's probably sat at home adding a few more as we speak. If that wants to work. Never wants to work this. So how do you join POTA? So you just go onto the Parks on the Air website. You just make an account. You can sign up for your Google account, your Amazon account if you want to, Facebook. POTA stores no passwords. They just go against the account you already have. And that's it. That's easy. Pop in your call sign. You can add other call signs into it if you're using like strict portable, or if you're going to Wales, you're using your MW, part of your call sign. etc. You can just add those in on the same account, and it just all works together. So activate. So an activator is somebody who goes out to the park, sits in the local park, and gets the radio out, put your antenna up, and so on. So before they go and do that, or you go and do it, you can go onto the Parks on the Air website, which is just POTA.app. It's that easy. Select parks or map. Select my location. If you're on your phone or on your computer, you can find out what's around yourself. And each part's got a reference number. So most one I use all the time is GB0531, which is Barbary Castle, I think, just up the road for me. So you make a note of that reference number and take that with you to activate a park. So if you're interested in doing a bit of POTA while you're down here over the weekend, there's a few places you can go. The most famous one at the moment, Bletchley Park, is on the system, Kingswood and Emberton County Park just down the road. So if you go onto the Parks on the Air website, you can see what's around you. I hope to see some logs going in this weekend. It's quite bare around here, and more parks will be added soon. I'm sure somebody will catch me and I'll put some on the system today. So, like I said, what do you need to activate a Parks on the Air? You need a radio license, of course. I'm sure we all have one. Any radio, any portable antennas, portable power or access to mains power, any logger that will export an XDF file, and just have fun. A lot of popular antennas, people make their antennas, coils, like your, trying to think of the brand, can't think of it, it's mine gone blank. Your SOTA beams and stuff. So anything portable you get in a backpack or you can throw in the boot of your car. Personally, I bought a set of ham sticks, and this goes on top of the mag mount on the car, which is just nice and easy. So activating a reference. So it's just 10 contacts, 10 QSOs. That's all you need to activate a reference. So it must take place in the same day, so from midnight to midnight. And you must be inside the park boundaries. So you can have a look at the park's website if they have one. You can have a look. There's various other websites and apps that can do that. You must use any simplex mode. You can do via satellite if you wish to try it yourself. No repeaters are allowed. There's no calling frequencies for POTA. It's just whatever it is within the band you're operating on. And there's no real exchange. A lot of people will be traditional about it. They'll call like CQ POTA, calling from GB, whatever the park reference is, and they will swap that park reference number with other people they're making contacts with. Some people don't announce it at all. Like myself, if I'm out contesting, I happen to be inside of a park. I don't call CQ POTA, I just stick to the contest and submit the log from that park. So basically you log like your date, time, band, like everyone does on the apps or on paper. Always say if it's something useful. I'm terrible for this. I always just put my call sign in just a random series of letters, and I've got to sit down after this and try and work out what I've done. But if you're quite nice and tidy, you put like the reference number, the date, so you can try and work from it and know what you've done. And upload to the website. I'll go into that in a bit. Sorry, am I just rambling? Or I'm terrible at these kind of things. So how do you call CQ? So touch on it briefly. So when I'm on like single sideband on 20 meters or something, it will look like that. So it's your standard call sign really, like CQ, 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 like M7 APR straight portable, calling CQ Parks on the Air, given the reference number and stuff, so people know that I'm activating the park. They can make a note of the reference number, because there are people who look for those reference numbers of parks they haven't worked before, or if it's a new one. A little CW option there. I don't do a lot of CW, I'm terrible at it. You can also spot yourself on the Parks on the Air website, so you literally put your call sign in, what park you're calling from, and where you are on the band. Other people will then have a look at the website, see where you are, go and work you, and then they could put like a little signal report like you are 5 and 1 or 5 and 9 into wherever, which is quite good to see where you're working at the same time. You can also, on the website, schedule an activation. So if somebody decides to go do an activation tomorrow, you can go onto the website, schedule what park you're calling from, where you're going to be, what band, and so on. If this wants to work. So login. Login is always a debate. We always have our favourite apps and programs, don't we? I'm sure people go, no, that one's rubbish, this one's better, and that does so much more. So it's 2 programs to use there, HamRS, which I just quite like because it just works for me. It's got a little map. I can see who I'm working, where they're based. I can put my frequency in, which grid square I am, which mode. I can put my park number into it, and it exports into the right file, and I can upload that straight onto the website where I'm still sat in the park if I wanted to. The one on the, I don't know my left and right on this. On the right-hand side, you've got Polo, which is a new iOS one and Android one. Somebody pointed out to me a while back when I was giving another presentation. He said works really well. So you can make a record of all the parks you're working, if you like working a park, if you're activating a park within a park kind of thing. You put them all there and then export a log for each park, which is really good. I just need to play with it more. I'm quite stubborn, I don't like change. So submitting a log. So you've gone out to a park, you've got your 10 QSOs in the logbook. So you literally go onto the POTA website, you sign in, there's a little option saying my log uploads. You enter the date and time and the park number. It's all there at the top of the bar. It's really easy to use. And then you just upload your ODF file, which you've probably usefully named correct and not like a load of numbers I do. And you try and work out which one's which. Hit upload and that's it. It takes a couple of minutes to go through. Sometimes when the POTA website is quite busy after a big event in the States, it might take a day or 2 to upload and adjust all the figures, but it does it. That's normally when I get an email about why isn't this uploading. So that's just one I done a while back. Probably the most recent one. I haven't really done much POTA recently. So it's all uploaded. Oh, wrong button. So why would people go out and do POTA? So it said lower noise floor. We've all got issues with noise. You know, your next door neighbours, dodgy LED light somewhere, or you know, the street lights at the moment. That's a major issue where I am. So you go out in the middle of nowhere, or like a local park. It's lower noise floor. It's got good views. There'll be some pictures later on. It's not death by PowerPoint, honest. Wildlife watching, if you're into that as well. And each activation's got its different challenges, like terrain, space, weather, accessibility. I'm quite lucky where I am. Most of my parks are really accessible. It's got big car parks. It's quite easy to get out of the way, put a wire antenna up if I wanted to, or like a little mask. But there's quite a lot of different challenges in them. Recently I uploaded Britain's smallest park, which is just a couple meters by a couple meters. And somebody's already activated that. I don't know how he's done it, but he's sent a couple pictures with his antenna sat up, like taped to a lamppost. I just put it on there because I thought it'd be quite funny to do, see who activates it first. All the way to like Dartmoor is a park you can activate, so from one extreme to the other. And it's just an opportunity to perfect your radio kit. You know, like I like to operate quite portable stuff. My radios and sticks, try to stick in my little bag, job done. Other people prefer to put everything in the boot of the car, big masks they put up. Makes you a better operator, gets you kind of in, like listening out for stuff on the radio, exchanging call signs, exchanging signal reports, exchanging numbers and all that. It keeps you on your toes a little bit, especially when they're quite down with the noise for themselves. And you just make friends through the hobby. I've made quite a few good friends through POTA on the website. And on the radio as well, I work an Italian chap all the time. He comes on every time he tries to hunt me, works me. It's like, oh, thank you, April, thank you very much. And stuff. It's quite nice. Other reasons, POTA is accessible. Like I said, most are in populated areas, many you could drive right into, which is great if you have additional needs at all. You can run like rapid contest style stations, or you can have a chat on the radio. There's no set way to do POTA. You just find your own little knack and how you like to do things. Like myself, quite happily sit there, have a conversation with somebody. Other times it's just a quick 5 and 9, swap on what park I'm in. And POTA accepts logs from any time. So if we put a new park on the system, which you've done a contest from, for example, you can upload that log to POTA as long as it's in the system. So there's no timescale when you can upload them. It's cheating a bit, but it's there. And the whole POTA program's under constant development. We're always changing things. The guys in America, the development team, are always changing things, making improvements, adding more awards in. Recently been sat on our Discord like administrative mapping chat talking about new awards. So there's a few things in the pipeline, and probably the most common question we get after this is when are our counties coming back for England and Scotland and Wales. It's in talks at the moment. Any modes welcome. So like I said, you can't use repeaters, you can use satellites, you can use digital modes, you can use DMR, you can use 70 centimeters, 2 meters, 6 meters, all the way through. Whatever you want, you can use, as long as it's not a repeater. If this wants to work. Sorry. So what most people tend to like are the awards, isn't it? We all like a good little certificate in radio, don't we? POTA Parks on the Air's got an award for absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. From how many times you activate a park, how many contacts you get from the park, modes, bands, how many operators you work from the park, how many times you work a operator, and so on. So there's just a couple there. So you've got like a hunter award. So a hunter is somebody who works somebody who's in a park. So you could be sat at home in your shack, listening around on the frequencies. You hear somebody called CQ POTA. You might sit there and go, oh, I can't work them, I'm not in a park. But you can, so you can hunt them. You don't have to upload a log or anything. The activator does all that. You just have to have an account on Parks on the Air. So you get like hunter awards. So that one's like, I've worked 20 references in Parks on the Air, hunted 20 different operators. You've got a Kilo Award, which is 1,000 QSOs from a park. So lots of people try and work towards that one. You get park to parks. So you might be sat in a park, like Bletchley Park, and you work somebody, let's say, in one of the Royal Parks. You both swap your park reference numbers. That's a park to park. So there's an award for that. And in your login app, there'll be an option for a park to park, and you just put in their park. So it's all logged appropriately. So hunters, like I said, you make an account, you look around on the spotting page, you might just tune around the band, see what's going on. Here's somebody called park to park. And you work them. You make a note of their park reference number if you want to collect parks. And that's it. You don't have to submit any logs, like I said, as logs are submitted by those who are activating the park. And you can log in on your POTA account occasionally. There'll be awards there. There'll be a log of how many times you've worked that operator or worked that reference. If it wasn't for hunters, Parks on the Air wouldn't go anywhere. So tips for hunting is check the POTA scheduler on the website for any activations. I've done it before. I've been sat at home. I've brought up the POTA Spots website, see who's around, and try and work them, because anybody they work is towards that magical 10 you need to activate a park. Social media is a great one. Lots of people on Facebook post in the POTA UK Facebook group on their activations, on their planned operations where they're going to work. like I said, look at the POTA Spots site, look at the DX Code of Conduct as well, use phonetics as well. So that's just the POTA Spots page, which is an older one I use. So it's just a load of American stations, their parks, where they are, so come up with their frequency, what park they're in as well. So if you've misheard the park number, you can always go on and have a look at it. It says when they're last heard. When somebody has left the park stop, they just put QRT up, and you can go around, try not to work them. So it's nice and easy. So why would you enjoy hunting parks? You're helping another amateur get that magical 10. It's short, easy contacts. It's nice and easy to use. You don't have to submit logs. You make friends still. You can hunt as much or as little as you want. If you really don't want to register an account on POTA to hunt parks, you don't have to, but it's recommended if you want to try and get awards. You can also help the activators by relaying things, like you've got a park-to-park calling. So me personally, if I'm hunting a park and I hear somebody calling park-to-park, I'll let them have priority, because then they're both activating the parks, and then you can try and work out where they are and try and work them as well. And spotting, so I usually try when I'm hunting is, once I've worked a contact, I'll go onto the POTA Spots website, I'll spot them on the website, so other people know where to go and work them. It's really funny, this little thing. So there's Hunter Awards. So in America, you've got Worked All States, like our old Worked All Counties Award. So it's like proof of work in all the parks in a state. It's the same in the UK. When we had our counties, we had like Worked All Wiltshire, Worked All Berkshire. And then like certificates for like hunting a person in a park so many times. It's just an award for everything. Activator challenges, solar flares, gear failure, always have repair kit and backups. I'm the worst for this. I'll leave silly things which I really, really need, like power leads. I always have a habit just leaving them in the shack at home, and I've driven an hour down the road to activate a park, and I'm just sat there looking like a pleb once I've set everything up and I've got to take it all back down. So take spares. I've kind of left them in the glove box now. Local noise, like power lines, car ignitions, quite a common one where I am, quite irritating. Difficult staff. We've all probably got the odd story where you might be out working the park and a member of staff's taken exception to what you're doing, or a member of the public. So it's quite rare, it does happen. It's just about you're representing parks on the air at the same time, yourself and the radio hobby. So it's like being respectful and stuff. It's quite common down in London in the rural parks. There's certain bylaws where you can't have radio, or it's like to do with speakers and stuff. And the parks police and park rangers get quite antsy about radio. We have been in talks with parks police and stuff, and I've sent them a copy of this presentation so they kind of know what parks on the area is. And some of the rural parks do allow POTA now, and some are really funny about it, others allow it. It's really weird, but that's London for you, if that wants to work. So activating tips, safety first. If you've got a mask up or you've got your counterpoise wires out, mark them about trip hazards. Have a checklist. I've got like a little thing on my phone, little note thing to make sure I do remember that power lead. Keep anything you need close, make a note of like your POTA reference, what county you're in, and your grid square for like Worked All Britain if you do that. Also for other programs as well, POTA works really well, things like bunkers on the air, lighthouses on the air, castles on the air. So, make a note of their references as well. You don't just have to activate POTA, you can activate all these other programs at the same time, and a lot of people do. Leave time to look around the park as well. I like being outdoorsy, I like walk around parks, so I always tend to get there a bit early, do my activation, then go for a nice little walk around the park. choose best operating position. So, if you're operating from your car, out in the corner of the car park, away from everyone. Same inside the park, I try and find a nice little quiet area to activate from. Consider the band conditions. Always tend to have a look at the QZ and the RSGB website to see what the conditions are like for that day, so I know what I'm kind of want to work, whether it's 20 meters, 40 meters, and so on. Battery power. So I've got like a golf pack battery and some power poles on. For me, using 10 watts, absolutely amazing, lasts for ages. So just consider battery power and whether you can take that in your backpack or you sat in your car using it. Be clear of the rules, consider the park rules. Quite a lot of parks will have local bylaws in, especially the royal parks. So just bear those in mind. If there's any issues, like a park ranger comes up to you and goes, no, you cannot be doing this here, drop us an email or message on Facebook or anything to the POTA admins or the help desk. It'll come to one of us, and we can deactivate the park for other people, or we can just send a nice little email to the local council and go, hey, somebody had this issue, can you clarify the rules for us? And just be persistent. You might go out, you might not get that magical 10 contacts, but you've got out, you've done something, you're not cooped up in the house, and keep working. When I first started doing POTA, I would only get 6 or 7 in the log, and I was just like, oh, this is rubbish. Then one day I got that magical 10, I was like, oh, it's actually quite good. And then just continue doing it. So some of the stuff I use, so I've recently started using the ICOM IC705, which is just absolutely amazing. It's got an app. I can do FT8 on my phone or my iPad on the Mac. It's absolutely fantastic. Use a golf cart battery. It's about £110 off eBay. Absolutely perfect. It's portable. I'm a Mac user on one of them, I'm afraid, so I take my iPad and stuff. And ham sticks, brought them from local radio shop. Does everything from, they all do 6 meters to 80 meters. Nice portable, live in the boot of my car. And then some of the big antennas, so one of the Yarkeys I use, try and do 2 meter activations and join things like the RSGB contests and stuff. So you can go from one extreme to another, like we all like to do. Some pictures from Paul, one of the other admins for England, for his setup. Just quite nice. Doing digital modes, count the poses, and like some of the scenery you can work with this. We all love a good park. We've got loads of great stuff on our doorsteps, which you don't really think about till you get out there and you see, oh, this is quite nice, I want to come back down here again. And so one thing about parks, so you might have heard the terms like 2-fer or 3-fer being referred to. So basically it's a park within a park. So you have something like, so where I am in Wiltshire, you've got the North Essex Downs, which is a POTA site. So that's one reference number. Within that, I've got Barbury Castle, which is a county park, which sits inside the boundaries. So that's another park. So when I'm sat in Barbury Castle, I'm activating 2 parks instead. So I can give both of those references to somebody on the radio, or I can submit a different log. So I'll just change the title on the log and submit 2 logs for each reference. So while I'm in Barbury Castle, the Ridgeway path runs through it. So paths and trails can be on parks on the air as well. So that has a reference number. So I'm now activating 3 parks when I'm sat in one park. Does that make sense? So you can submit a log for each one, and there's people who just want to go out and try and get as many parks in one to activate as a whole. It's quite good fun. POTA on social media, big thing, Parks on the Air on Facebook. It's busy, people share people they've worked, photos of their activations, stories about how it's helped them, events. So POTA do a special event 4 times a year, which is just Work Your Parks weekend. So it's just about getting out to your local park. Some clubs go out and do like big stations for it in the States and so and POTA news. Many activators are on Twitter and Instagram. I'm quite active on Twitter with Parks on the Air. If that wants to work. So other groups, so you've got Summits on the Air, Lighthouses on the Air, Beach on the Air, Bunkers on the Air is a big one as well. So that's just some of the other schemes you could take part in while you're doing POTA. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, well, let's see if we have any questions. Lots of hands going up. There's one here.
Good morning, April. I'm from Guernsey. Who administers or looks after the parks in Guernsey? Because we've got a couple. We originally, I think it might have been last year, requested some parks, but looking at the rules, we have Delancey Park and Sommeray Park, which are both parks that belong to the island, but there's Cambridge Park as well, which doesn't technically belong to the island. It belongs to the parish, because Guernsey is divided into parishes. So we thought, okay, we'll ask for Cambridge, for Sommeray Park and Delancey Park, but we'll ask about Cambridge Park and see if they'll accept it. We didn't hear anything, but kept checking the Parks on the Air website. And sometime later, lo and behold, not only were those three on, but quite a few other places that aren't parks have appeared on the Parks on the Air website, and there's a couple that are not publicly owned.
So in terms of like publicly owned ones, if you let the help desk know, your local POTA admin know that, because some do see...
We don't have a local POTA. We don't know who's looking after it in Guernsey. That's the problem.
You do. It's a gentleman behind you with his hand up. Is the local person.
So I'm the mapping representative. So I think probably I'm the mapping G1JK or G3NY. So I took on that task because nobody wanted to do it. Nobody local wanted to do it. So I'm not sure. I can go through it with you afterwards, because it sounds like it was confusing. Because the initial trouble I had was meeting the criteria. So, as you say, it's state and parish, which is slightly different, and obviously the rules.
The person we applied to originally actually said it's nothing to do with me anymore. So, which is why we hadn't heard anything. So we sort of just assumed it wasn't going to happen. But now it's happened. People have come and said they've activated some of these parks, and we don't know how they've actually got there. The people that have come over from the UK.
Sounds like you two need to talk about it a little bit later on. We have another question over here.
Hello, April. I have to say I love POTA. Big POTA fan, and we've got a few members of our local club who are big POTA fans as well. But what can we do to get this presentation to the clubs in our local area to introduce more people into the scheme and get more enthusiasm for it?
So I can, if you give me your email address afterwards, I could drop you a copy of this presentation, and then if somebody's willing to present it there. If not, let me know which club you're from and stuff. If it's kind of local to me or one of the other admins, I'm sure one of us can come in and give the talk or do it over Zoom or something for you.
I think I've asked for this before to see if I can get someone to do it over Zoom because I don't know if you've got any activators in Colchester or presenters in Colchester that can do it, but if not, Zoom would be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, just catch me afterwards. I'll take down details and sort that out.
Hi, Derek G7LFC. Did my first POTA a couple of weeks ago and really enjoyed it, so it's obviously on the radar for the future. With the parks, you've obviously got a boundary which you can operate in. With the trails, you haven't got a boundary. How close do you need to be to the trail to actually activate it?
So within trails, you've got to be 100 feet within the trail, like on either side of it. So that gives you quite a good little boundary to work from. There is a website, I can't think of the name of it, but if you go onto the Parks on the Air UK Facebook group, there's a link to it, and it will shows all the parks, it shows all the other reference, like other award programs, and it shows you the exact boundary with the 100 foot on each side, so you can work out where it's best to activate from. Okay.
Hi, Peter, GHCK. Hello. GHCKB. Nature reserves are also included in the POTA system, but some of them, especially bird reserves, they are not accessible, certainly during nesting season. So how do we cope with these?
So it's quite a hard one. So we rely on local knowledge to tell us whether a park or nature reserve or bird reserve is appropriate for POTA, because we just see what we get in the message and do our research. So to us on the website might say it's accessible, but then somebody locally their messages and go, hold on, this isn't appropriate, it's not accessible, and so on. So we can remove the park from the system. We are slowly going through all the UK parks and adding on like accessibility options onto them. So say like during these certain months it's accessible, during these it's not, and so on. So hopefully that would try and change things a bit. But if you spot something that's not appropriate or not accessible for any reason, let us know so we can deactivate the park or add a note to it to say what the issue is. We rely on people to tell us.
Hi April, thanks very much, very interesting. Is there a limit to power? Are we sort of limited to like 10 watts QRP, or can we go higher? Not that I'm saying we're going to put out 1 kilowatt, but...
whatever your license allows you to do,
right,
is basically the rules.
And is there going to be like a phone app for it at all? I know there's a website, but I just wondered if there was like a phone app coming.
I honestly don't know. That'd be something the American development team will be doing. So I could take that forward and just say, somebody mentioned this during this talk. Is that a yes or no? Is it maybe?
Thank you.
Right.
Hi, good afternoon, April. M0GUI guy. One thing that I've struggled with is being out and about is being accosted by members of the public and go, what the hell are you doing? Do you have a one page that we could print out, laminate and just hand to them? And this is probably to the RSGB as well. Could we just get a little business card that says, I am a licensed radio operator, here's my call sign, here's the reference details, so that we can, again, hand that as proof that we are not spies in the field sending coded signals around the world. It just seems that, so many people are paranoid these days about this sort of stuff. If we had something that we could officially wave at people, it would make things a lot easier.
It would do, to completely agree with that. So the previous England administrator made like a little trifold leaflet. It's on the Facebook group for the UK POTA. So you could download it off there. It's just a little bit about Parks on the Air, what it is, what the radios do. It's just like a little bit like that. Me and Nikki and Paul did sit down at one point on Messenger and swap some ideas, and updating this leaflet was one of them. So any suggestions what you want included, let us know, and we could try and take that forward and build on this leaflet we already have.
Here.
Thanks. Dan M0ACM out of Swindon. Do you have a definition of what it constitutes a park? And is it organised or validated by the UK, or does it have to go through the US?
So the US gave us a set of rules. Basically, it's like state parks and stuff, which isn't relevant to us here in the UK because we've all got like local borough councils, local parishes. So we kind of looked at the rules and decided it's anything that's like a county park, or like a recognised park by like a local authority, for like in Swindon, like the lawn, which is on the system. So it's not like a county park, but it's recognised as a big park by the local council. The same with trails. So basically, it's anything like county parks, like recognised parks, nature reserves, sites of significant scientific interest. Try and get the words out. Some other bits and pieces, and like same with like trails or outstanding areas of national beauty is the one now, or national trails. So that's basically like the definition. So people's suggestions for parks comes to either me, Paul, or Richard. Then we have a look at the park to see whether we can work that criteria to that park, if that makes sense. So I say, if in doubt, send it to us, and we can say yes or no.
Definition always is a problem for all of these awards. Another question at the front.
Thank you. I do a lot of SOTA activating, and I like SOTA because the rules are very clear and the activation area around each peak are very clear. I do a bit of POTA chasing, but one of the things that's always put me off a bit in terms of activating is that there does seem to be quite a bit of vagueness around park boundaries or whatever you're defining as a park. And I'm wondering if there's any intention to more formally define the boundaries of places so that we know where we can operate and qualify that activation or not.
So we, like with any award, it's to do with honesty, that either you're in that summit activation zone or you're in that radius of a bunker or you're in the park boundaries or you're within 100 foot of that trail. It's all to do with honesty. I like to think we're all quite honest people and stuff.
That wasn't my point.
It's,
My point was,
sorry.
yeah, of course, there's a degree of honesty and integrity in terms of activating anything. But, for example, where I live in the forest, very close to where I live in the Forest of Dean, there's a big nature reserve called Nag's Head, which is an RSPB reserve. I used to work there. I know where the boundaries are. You won't find those online because it's not obvious on the RSPB website where the boundaries of that site are. So how do we know?
That's a really hard one. I haven't really got an answer for it. I normally suggest to people and try and put the links on the POTA page for the park, like a website where you can find those boundaries, or you can go onto the DEFRA website and find boundaries. There's a website mentioned, I can't think of the name for it, it's mind blank with it, where it will show you the boundaries of a park. But then it's putting it from paper into practical. I say, if in doubt, if you don't know if you're in the park or not in the park, just try and go more into the park. It's a hard one. There's no real answer to it, unfortunately. Sorry.
Yeah, Mike Zero, Mike November. I'm the Scotland rep for POTA. Just a
thank you.
comment on the mapping, the references, and some of the access as well. There's a lot of work getting done now, going through all the references, adding new ones and looking at the old ones as well. And what we're doing is adding website links for all the references, tracking back to Nature Scotland, RSPB, NNRs. But again, it comes down to common sense. It's going to take a long time to add them. There's now. I saw the numbers on there for the parks, but we've actually got nearly 3,000 parks for UK now.
There we go.
900 something in Scotland, and the rest are spread around. So the work's getting done, but the admin takes time because we're all volunteers. I'm the only one doing it in Scotland. Again, on the point on the presentations of any of the clubs in Scotland want me around, I've done them before and I can do them for you again. There's a lot of admin going on, a lot of things happening, and a lot of very positive change for POTA going on at the moment.
Hi, it's me again. Regarding activations out in the field, I urge any of my students and new licensees to make sure they too carry some form of information sheet with them, being it the flyer from the society or the league, or just a sheet they've made up themselves, because it's a good way to catch new adherence to our interest. And also another thing, I'll skip that one.
I think there's a gentleman in front of you.
Hi, April. Mark, M5BOP. I found myself inadvertently operating parks. I got some gear in the back of my car. I went to Centre Parks on a holiday in Sherwood Forest and got a spare afternoon when the others were going swimming. So I just sort of set up an antenna and my QRP rig, made some contacts. I didn't make 10, but by the sound of it, I could have stated quite adequately that I was operating in a park, I guess, from that point of view. I guess it was a bit tenuous. But the main question I was going to ask was, when you're operating, I guess if you're operating from a car, that isolates all the siren to within your vehicle, I guess, unless you've got the doors open, which you might have. Do you generally operate just using the speaker and mic of the radio, or do you use a headset? What is good etiquette for operating, particularly if there are other people passing by? I guess if you've got a headset on, then it makes it harder for other people to converse with you, which could be good, could be bad. So
it's really personal preference. Myself, if I'm like sat on the grass somewhere in the park, just using the speaker, I don't have the rig turned on full blast, disturbing other people. I think it's just like decency to others, being aware of people in your surroundings, so people probably hasn't come to listen to a load of radio chatter. So, use a headset or just use speaker, be mindful of others. It's about promoting the hobby, and it lets them hear what's going on, and it might pique their interest a bit to come over, have a chat with you, get a leaflet if you've got a leaflet, and yeah.
Thanks a lot, April. I think we're just about out of time for any questions. I'm still waiting to hear when you have a sort of name like POTA Picnica instead of Shaq Sloth for these various awards, but maybe that will come in the next round. So many thanks indeed for a fascinating talk and enlightenment about POTA.
Nice, thank you.